Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the wheat journey of India right from the modern times. The feature news for today also discusses the complete wheat journey of the country right from the ancient times. But let us understand the modern times first, and then we will enter the primitive times as well. So let me begin by welcoming all the people here. Hima, Bani, Ashish, Kriti, Amlan, all of you, and other people joining in late and viewing offline. Welcome to all of you. Let's begin. In this feature news, we will discuss what is happening in the current world market. That is a demand for India's wheat. Should India be exporting wheat? Along with that, other issues that deal with WTO and the PDS opportunity in the country, or is it a bane? We will understand this all. And we will also understand the quick history of the complete wheat journey in the country. What are the opportunities and challenges of wheat production in the country? Okay. So the questions, please put them down, and then we will get back to you. Is there an opportunity for wheat export in the country? Look, see, the countries which are producing wheat to the optimal level are China and India. These are the countries which produce more than 100 million tons of wheat as grain itself. However, these are not the exporting countries. They are the countries which are into feeding its own population, with the highest and the second highest population in the country, right? In the whole world. The countries which export the wheat basket of the whole world, Russia and then Ukraine, both of them are under attack because both of them are under the situation of war, because of which both the countries are not able to export items. Ukraine because the whole country is under attack, and Russia because of increased number of sanctions, right? So even if there is a small lag in demand of any product, this leads to huge issues in the pricing. And you can see the pricing, the red bar indicates, if you can see this carefully, the red bar indicates the pricing of wheat in the international market in January, February 2022. This is approximately double the MSP that is available in India. Right now, Indian government gives 2100 rupees per quintal. 2100 rupees per quintal. All right, black ink. 2100 rupees per quintal, 21 rupees per kilo to the farmer. And to add to it, there are other costs. For example, the cost of transportation, the cost of seeking accountability by the government, for example, audits, the cost of storage, all of them calculated, the price comes to 25 rupees per kg for the government. The government, what it does is that it sells the same wheat at 2 rupees per kilo to the poor population of the country. So it takes a loss of approximately 23 rupees. This is the reality. And what government procures out of the 100 million tons is around 25 to 40 million tons. Rest of the wheat is available in the Indian market, and the Indian sellers, Indian purchasers, the regular market purchase it. But then they do not purchase it at premium prices. Why? Because the government has declared the minimum support price, and minimum support price is also not only determined through various factors which get into mode of production, but also politically determined. So the prices keep escalating every time, and the private players are not ready to provide a price like this. Also, APMC, mandis, and there are cartels running around, because of which the prices are fixed by the bigger traders, and the prices touch just around MSP, or if the product is really very good, then a couple of rupees or 2-3 rupees in addition to MSP is given to the farmers. So MSP is the best bet of any farmer. That's what I want to explain. And through MSP, government procures around 40 million tons of wheat during these times of crisis. Earlier it was procuring less, say around 25 million tons. This was the situation through which it was feeding people and also keeping a buffer stock. Now wheat, rice, these are the items which India keeps as buffer stock. India has had reasonable buffer stock this year, around 7 million tons, which it has been able to create with the help of the past 2-3 years, which have been very good for wheat and rice production both. Now India looks at possibility of exporting this. Only a possibility, provided WTO gives it the green light, the go ahead for wheat export. But there are reservations about it. Let's discuss that. See, right now there are quite a few issues about wheat export from the country. One important issue that is that there is a possibility that India might not see a great production this year. It is because the whole graining process, the whole filling of the grain process has been riddled with because of the extreme temperatures. The filling of grain, which ideally happens at 30 degrees Celsius, now the temperatures are soaring 40 degrees Celsius, because of which the graining has not happened appropriately, and this could lead to shortfall in production to as much as 30%. 30% of the grain may not even give the optimal capacity of the grain. This is one. There are places where the grains have burnt because of extreme heat and the heat waves. There are places where the grain has dried enough of drying has happened, so that the content and the quality of wheat has declined, because of which the quality of production is low, because of which the productivity is as well is low, and India might have to save this amount for feeding its population. This is one reason. The other reason is the WTO, World Trade Organization, says that we cannot be giving those kind of subsidies in input in agriculture where it can lead to trade distorting measures. See, the prime agenda of World Trade Organization is to have a world in which free trade can happen across the borders. Now, see, this is an agency of the developed world, right? Largely, not only developing, but developed world largely, because developed world has got capacities to produce entities, to produce agriculture goods or the manufactured goods, services. They've got better potential, and they want a freer international trade. They want freer borders, so that the international market, the developed market, can put in their entities to developing market. This is what WTO largely speaks of, and this is where it says that any country which is giving subsidies in agriculture produce, that is not, and that will be trade distorting. This is not good. So when India gives subsidies, it gives subsidies at two places. One subsidy is to the consumer, so supplying wheat at 2 rupees and purchasing at 25 rupees. Yes, this is one subsidy, but this is not trade distorting now. It is giving to its own people. Trade distorting is the subsidy which it gives to the farmers when it procures wheat at 21 rupees per kilo. See, when it procures this item at 21 rupees per kilo, there are various input subsidies it has given to the farmer, right? So fertilizer has been provided, water has been provided, electricity has been provided, seed has been provided, right? Manure has been provided, chemical pesticides have been provided, many of them at subsidized rate. These are the inputs. And when we are giving inputs for a greater production, and this leads to more production in the country, and we want to export the same item, that means that we are somehow promoting the export of this item, although India is not purposefully doing it, but yet WTO points out an issue like this. So WTO will have a problem. It says that these are the subsidies which must be placed in an item, in a box, which is amber, am I correct? Amber box, and this subsidy must be reduced here. Now, India says that we will invoke peace clause. There is a peace clause which says that any country, any developing country, can invoke a peace clause in case it is providing excess subsidies, more than the required amount of subsidy it is providing, because it is feeding its vulnerable population. So the limit is 10% of the total subsidy, of the total item that has been created. 10% of it can be the maximum subsidy. That can be product subsidy, product related subsidy, or non-product subsidy. Non-product subsidy is general subsidy like electricity, water, and product related subsidy is specific to a particular product. For example, providing a particular type of seed, providing a subsidy for purchase of cotton, right? So those are the particular subsidy. Both of them cannot exceed more than 10% for developing countries. But ironically, the developed world, this is where the war is between developing countries and the developed countries. The developed countries have this maximum percentage of subsidy that they can provide, that is 5%, or they have also exempted themselves for a certain number of goods to be provided subsidy item wise, right? So developed country has a different criteria which is fixed at the time when the developing countries were not in a situation to negotiate. And this is why, and also many of the items that developed country export, agriculture products, they are not placed in amber box, they are placed in green box, which the WTO says is not trade distorting, although they also give humongous levels of subsidy to their items, right? See, another issue is political appetite. Once the price rise of food happens in the country, everybody will be blaming around wheat itself, although wheat will be in excess in the country, but people will keep on blaming wheat only. And now that is the situation in the country, right? So because of all these, exporting wheat could be a very risky bet for India. Now when you look at the competition of wheat, that Indian wheat, and how is it competitive globally? Is it competitive? Yes, possibly it could be a decent variety of wheat, However, when you want to export to farther off destinations, which are around Black Sea region, a country like Egypt, a country like Syria, these are the countries which import it at lesser prices, because the container cost, the movement cost, the travel cost is lesser. But then there are many rice producing countries in South Asia, Bangladesh being one, Indonesia being another one, Malaysia, Singapore, all of them also import wheat. India could start looking at those countries, even in case India wants to export these items to those countries. All right. But then the prices will be high. See, what is the important opportunity for India here is not exporting wheat. We must be innovative in the products that we export. We must be innovative in finding the destinations we export to. But if all the nations are exporting wheat to a specific country, for example, Egypt, then where is the competition? Competition is against us right now. What we need to do is explore innovative products of wheat, right? Innovative places where we can start creating destinations for wheat export. This is what we can do. What we can further look into is the logistical cost. Logistical cost in India is very high. To be able to trade any item, be it commodity, be it agriculture or manufacturing item, trading interstate trade or intercountry trade, the cost is very high in a country like India. So removing that bottleneck is very important. Food safety, many of the Indian products, export items, they are sent back to India because food safety norms, phytosanitary norms are not followed well. They must be taken care of. So this is what is required for India. And see, this is where these are the top wheat importers from India: Bangladesh, Nepal, UAE, Sri Lanka, Yemen, Afghanistan, Qatar, Indonesia, Oman, Malaysia. So let's start exporting to these places first. Although the value of wheat export, increase in export has increased drastically, but we export very, very less quantities of wheat. Hardly 2 or 3, 4 million tons is what we export. All right. Now, one small thing that I would like to also explain along with this is the program for public stock holding, which I had explained very well in the editorial discussion also. If you're not looking at those discussions, then I think you are missing out on something very valuable. So external reference price is the external price according to which the subsidy level is fixed. 10% of maximum subsidy is fixed, right? And if in case any country it goes beyond this, then there are developed world which keep on warning the nation. So America has warned, Canada has warned, European countries, Australia, all of them have warned India whenever its total rice subsidy, it comes to 11% according to their calculations. There are number of fallacies in the calculations also. The time 1986 to 1988, when this calculation, the base prices was checked, it was in favor of the developed nations. Now, whenever this 10% bracket, it is broken by India and only 1% extra subsidy is given, these kind of issues are created. So when we look at any item that has to be exported, any agriculture commodity, be it wheat or rice, India will be always in trouble because of these kind of export. Therefore, imagine a system in which we are able to give, see, we have to support farmers, we have to support the consumers both. So this is the double catch for us. But then can we do this by providing a UBI, universal basic income? This is the actual solution. Rather than giving input subsidy to people, to farmer, where there is 30% leakages, rather than providing a fair price shock mechanism to consumer, why not provide everything at market cost and give market cost of inputs to farmer? 1 acre, give them 5,000 rupees. This is only an example. 2 acres, 10,000 rupees, proportionally to every farmer who is poor. And then to consumer, provide universal basic income to anybody who is unemployed, and everything at market rate. If this is done, then no input, no peace clause invocation will be required, no subsidy will be given, direct subsidy. We will be only providing subsidy, we will be only providing some income support to every Indian. Now through this, we will also not be guiding people to produce a particular entity, just like, so MSP, all of these input subsidies will go away. Minimum support price will go away. So minimum support price for wheat is very high, for rice is very high, and for oil seed, for pulses are low, and we are importing pulses. We have a crisis on oil seed. There's no crisis in wheat and rice. However, if we give universal basic income, farmer will be free to cultivate any of these entities, right? So we will be free of populist measures, but then this demands a greater vision from the government's end, right? This will be free of, see, when we provide finances to people, every person will have their pocket money to spend at their own in their own ways, rather than government directing which direction should they spending, right? So we understood what are the issues at WTO. We understood that there is a huge production happening in India, but then vulnerabilities also exist. We also understood what could be the solution in a situation like this. And see, I would also like to quickly explain to you what is the public distribution system and how it works. See, 2013, India says that we will have a National Food Security Act through which we will provide minimum guarantee of food to the poor population of the country. Poor population is 75% of people living in the rural areas and 50% in the urban areas, amounts to around 66% of the whole population receiving free, not free, but almost free food grains, 1 rupee, 2 rupee and 3 rupee. 3 rupee for rice, 2 rupee for wheat, and 1 rupee for coarse cereals, so millets, jowar, bajra, ragi. This is what India envisaged. And what is the provision? The provision is 5 kilo per person per month. All right. This was the plan, 2013. Why? Why is because India understood that to remove extreme poverty and poverty in the country, we will have to provide calorie intake. See, food intake has to be given, and food intake has to be given. Let us provide food. So we were providing food security right now, not nutrition security, food security. See, once we are able to fill the stomach of the people, that's when we will start looking at nutritional security. So right now India is nutrition insecure but food secure. Similarly, when we looked at the program for educating everybody, we started with 100% enrollment. 100% enrollment in primary schools. Do we have it? Yes, we do have it. We have more than 100% enrollment. But after we have the school children being there in the school, sitting in the school, that's when we start looking at the quality of education. So now we are focusing on whether a class 5 child is able to study the basic alphabets and letters or not, right? So this is how, it's a step-by-step process which we lead to. So the first step was even before this PDS of National Food Security Act, where through Antyodaya Yojana, of what this was a scheme passed on 20 years back. This is where the government was providing for extremely poor, Antyodaya. At the end, people placed at the end of the queue, those people would be provided free food grains, 35 kilos of free food grains, right, in that particular family. Now, this was only for the extremely poor. For the other population which was below poverty line and the rest targeted population that I mentioned, 66% population, 1 to 3 rupees was the provision, and for the other people, other subsidized rate at Kendriya Bhandar was provided, right? So the first level was the program of Antyodaya Yojana, after which National Food Security Act came in 2013. And where more food subsidies were given to a lot of people, and this led to huge dent in government debt. Government had to loan a lot of money to be able to procure 100 million tons of wheat and rice, and to the level that the storage that the government has right now, around 25 million tons, this cost is around 2 lakh crore rupees, right? 2 lakh crore. So huge deficit for the government. And over and above, the third level of program that we have started is another populist program, Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. Now their problems are multifaceted. When this program initiated, this was because the migrant workers, the poor population would not be able to feed themselves. Let's feed them during the times of crisis. 2 years of feeding them, that's absolutely good. But now the government is in a catch-22 situation where it has provided a populist measure, but might not be able to withdraw it. Why? Because the moment it withdraws, this will be against populist measures. But yet government is now under the catch here, because government will have to fund these kind of programs and it does not have money. It needs to have finances to be able to initiate the health programs, education programs, and the skilling programs, right? So this is the issue in the country, and amidst that we are understanding what is the issue of wheat export in the country. wheat production. Let's understand the brief wheat journey of the country. So Egypt, one of those civilizations, has started to ask India to be able to ask India of if it can export wheat to Egypt or not. India has said yes, we can export it, and Egypt also says you want to export is good, but then many times we have seen you are not providing us good quality wheat. So this is only an initial statement we are giving, but if they are good enough, we will see further later. Earliest wheat excavated from an Indian site of Chiran in Saran district of Bihar is estimated to be from 3500 BC. This is not 3500 from now. This is 3500 BC. That means we are speaking of 5500 years back. Harappan period also, wheat has been discovered from Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, etc. So Chiran is the first place where we have found the presence of wheat in the country. All right. After that, Harappa, and okay, what else? So some historical updates about wheat. So Buddhist and Jain text also mention of wheat preparation. Rig Veda does not mention of wheat preparation, but Yajurveda does mention of wheat offerings. Who to offer? To offer to the Pandits and all. Wheat production post independence. Wheat production, earlier we were insecure of wheat. See, remember, we have had treaties where we have wanted to export our entities and import some entities. So we wanted to import wheat, and in return we wanted to give those entities which India was good at. These were the times of 1950s and 60s. See, this is the first time India has had a program, Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, where India has been able to get through or get past a huge calamity, a national level calamity, without food insecurity to people. And that is only through with the help of a huge public distribution system network, huge system for fair price shops, and a huge public procurement system, right? A system for public stockholding. Okay, wheat is the second most produced cereal grain behind maize. China, India and Russia are the three largest individual wheat producers. Okay, highest exporters are Russia, USA, Canada, France, that we know. Okay. Challenges to wheat production, yes. See, climatic vulnerability, we have known the example right now. Excessive use of input and land resources, salt affected areas, salinity, pests and diseases, availability of improved seeds, that is a question, and science and technology is not working at par with what is required. We need better seed, high yielding variety seed production in the country, and lately we are also looking at fortifying the seeds, right? That was in news. We will discuss that sometime. Price volatility is another issue, decline in farm size. So all you got to do, see, the moment you know the heading, you know the answer. So just remember this heading and give an example if you have any, and that's how you will be able to complete a pointer about the same. Opportunities for India now. World's second biggest wheat producer, absolutely. 6th season in a row that the country has produced a surplus, absolutely great. So comfortably positioned with respect to the countries which want to import. Now, see, this is a background to the whole article that we discussed. What I discussed beforehand with the slides, that was what could come in the examination. This is a background to it. So when you look at the challenges of production of wheat, when you look at the opportunities for India, they do exist. However, the current issues in news are, can India provide arguments if India can export wheat or not? What are the challenges? Provide arguments if the Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana should be stopped or not. Is it a populist measure or not? So when you deal with an article like this is not only agriculture, there's also economy, there's also governance, there's also being able to provide government support to initiatives. So look at the articles holistically, not from the perspective of which paper it belongs to, and you will find the right answers. We are here to support you. Now, yes, Amlan, jute for wheat with Argentina, right? So good, very good. So now there are questions, please put them down in the comment section, and in case not, it's great that you've participated. Now you need to do one thing, that is to be able to quickly jot down these points so that they are there in your mind while the exam is on. All right. So with this initiative coming to an end for today, let me thank you all for participating, and good night. I will see you all tomorrow evening. Thank you for participation.